Ahoy there, pirates, and welcome to another Keelhauled Shoreleave episode. And this time, I have got a ton of news that we need to cover. I brought in CJ from the Player One podcast to help me out. We discussed for quite some time all the different things that have been going on in the game industry. And to start off, let me just say that it's basically going to be a lot of us talking about the Inside Xbox that just came out, Cyberpunk, Animal Crossing, PlayStation, Xbox, the new generations. All that stuff has been pushed into one episode that I'm hoping will give you guys a good bit of entertainment for your end of the week. This is coming out on Friday, May 8th, and this is right after the actual Inside Xbox. We discuss basically every game that was shown at this, and I can't say anymore. You guys are going to have to sit back, relax, listen to CJ and I discuss this. With any luck, this will hopefully be a monthly thing that we can do where we'll hopefully be getting more content from Xbox, see how the industry's doing, get in here and talk about it so that you guys can enjoy the conversation, because I know how much you enjoy other games outside of Sea of Thieves. And because this is a Sea of Thieves focused podcast, I don't want to do this too much. It's been a while since our last one, but I figured now was a good time to jump on this next gen bandwagon, get in there with the hype, and put out content that's too long for YouTube, because that's how podcasts do it. We go long and without search engine optimization. I'm going to have to figure that out one of these days. Anyway, we're going. So here it is. Bye. I too have a 10-hour loop of that song on a small Google one I got for free. Thanks to Spotify. It's great because I can just, I just listen to that all night. Puts me right to bed. My wife lets me sleep on the couch as much as I want.
Have entangled dreams.
It's true. I just want Flynn Rider to come and rescue me from my car. That's all I really want.
That is the dream. Yeah,
it's the dream.
Yeah.
I just want Flynn Rider to pop in and without knowing, set me free and cause this huge kind of power swing in the kingdom. I don't know. I can't remember the movie. But yeah, okay. So yeah, I wanted to bring you on because there's, for one, you're part of P1P, and I love listening to your show. And I was listening to you talk to Greg and Phil, and you're like, "Hey, did you guys watch the Assassin's Creed Valhalla video?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "What? Where's my podcast entertainment? I demand my money back on this." And then I realized that I don't actually pay money for any podcasts, but so
you can never count on your co-hosts actually watching the stuff that you put in the outline. I've learned that over many years of podcasting. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to at least make sure that that I at least talk to you before, because I wanted to talk about the Inside Xbox, Jay. So I wanted to at least make sure that you had actually watched that.
I did, yeah.
Awesome.
I wake up early, so yes, I did watch that.
Well, okay. I may not wake up at 8 a.m., but I still managed to watch it at when I woke up at 11. Thankfully, it was only half hour too, because man, I had to get ready for work.
Well, it was more. They did a deep dive, so it was a little more than a half hour. Hour of trailers, and then they did like 30-40 minutes of sort of developer interviews.
Yeah. So I got a chance. I spent most of my breaks at work today watching the video and trying to grab some notes. I didn't have a chance to type them up, obviously, because all on my phone. So I grabbed a photo of my journal, my Sea of Thieves journal, and I wanted to kind of bust through these and then some other gaming news and stuff. So for anyone that's listening, they may not realize this, but this episode was intended to be completely solo. Like I was scripting it all out. I was like, I'm gonna do what YouTubers do, and I'm gonna write this stuff out as a cool like script And then I shot myself in the foot, and I was like, "Hey, Chris, come be on the show."
And I said, "Heck yeah,
yeah." So
this already feels just like we're sailing on Sea of Thieves. We talk about all sorts of gaming stuff.
It's true, and that's
we sail.
It's funny that you bring that up because the conversation that we had the other night where we were talking about like Xbox and PlayStation and console gens and stuff, I was like, man, I really wish I'd recorded that because that was a good conversation, and I
that was
like that would have been a good one to toss up on the old podcast feed, but more's the pity. So I wanted to dive into, and I should probably pull up the Xbox thing too, just so I can kind of reference these actual games and stuff. I was really surprised by this Inside Xbox. Like I found out through, I think it was Aaron Greenberg that tweeted about how they're doing like this whole Xbox 2020 thing. How they're doing every month they're going to be doing something to do with the actual like every month there's something new coming, which is absolutely crazy. And you sent a link that's got the actual news article that I can link to for the show notes in case you want to read it. But it's so cool that the Xbox is doing this. Like we've kind of had the discussion in the past privately about how Sony's been really quiet this season, and it's leading up into into their launch, and no one knows what the thing looks like. And here's Xbox.
But does it really matter what the thing looks like? I mean, it's going to be a box that sits under your TV, right? We saw the controller. We know that it's sort of probably going to have similar styling to that, and it's going to be a box that sits next to your television. Do you need to know more than that?
Not really, but
we didn't know what the Switch looked like until 6 months before that came out. And I guess we're about 6 months before the next gen consoles are supposed to come out. But
let's see, we had the teaser in October 2016, right, for the Switch, and then we found that's when we found out about Karen, and then we didn't get like a deep dive until January when they had that really really weird conference.
Yeah.
And then
that was like 2 months before the thing came out.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, this isn't really all that bad still.
True.
We're still okay.
Yeah, but the thing I feel like Nintendo, because they did it like that, like I feel like they were really banking on Zelda as their like system seller. Like I appreciate the people that went out and supported the Wii U, and I hope that they had fun with their Wii U version of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But really, that was a Switch game.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Nintendo they play by their own rules, so I don't know if I can really feel like they're not competing. That's the thing is they're not competing against anyone else. Like they're competing with themselves just to figure out what the internet is. I don't know that they can post stuff whenever they want and have it not really impact the rest of the game industry outside of everyone just being like, okay, well, I guess I'll hold off on this game because there's a new Zelda. R.I.P. Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Well, the interesting thing I think about this year is that, of course, everybody's doing the stay-at-home thing, and there are no consumer events. So back in January, if you remember, Sony stepped away from E3, and they said, instead of going to E3, we're going to go to the hundreds of consumer events that are taking place during 2020, and now all of those are canceled. So, and the funny thing is, like, you look at Sony's track record with digital events when they've tried to do them, they haven't exactly been as successful as some others have been. And like the state of play presentations have been okay, but it wasn't until they really started copying the Nintendo Direct style almost directly that they really got the hang of their messaging. So the interesting thing is, while they haven't said anything really, they've, unveiled a controller and they did the Mark Cerny deep dive thing. I don't think they have as much experience doing a digital event as Nintendo certainly, or I think Microsoft is getting in a pretty good position with all of these presentations. So
which is
be interesting
so
to see.
Crazy. It's so crazy to me that like the way they are about online events is the way Nintendo is about online multiplayer. Like they just aren't getting it. Like they're making attempts, but it's just not hitting where it should hit. And it's so crazy to me that that's how they're operating, and they're fine with it because everyone's just like good with the PS4. They're like, yeah, no, PS5 will just be the next PS4. Like, it's just going to be about the games that they want. And I guess the thing before we jump into this, the thing that I wanted to really kind of breach with you was we were talking privately when we were sailing that I really feel like Xbox needs to pull in the Sony PlayStation people if they want to do well this game generation. And that was the thing that I think that we both agreed on is that they have to cater to the PlayStation people, and that means pulling
they have to convert people.
Yeah, like they've got to get the action first player story driven games on their system. Like they can't just keep putting out the multiplayer shooters in the racing games. And looking at this third party first look on Inside Xbox, I think they're going to do that. I feel like they might actually be bringing games that look like they belong on a PlayStation to the Xbox, which is crazy.
Potentially. I mean, you look at the presentation like this and it's all third party stuff. I don't think they said world premiere, but they didn't really say exclusive or first on Xbox Series X with any of these, did they? I can't recall if they did.
I think Yakuza was the main one that I think is exclusive.
No, that's not exclusive.
Exclusive.
It's already out on PS4 in Japan. It can't be exclusive.
Touche.
But they have. I mean, the interesting thing with that one is that you buy the Xbox One version and you get the smart delivery upgrade for the Series X assets, which is nice.
That's such
a couple of games in this lineup. Presentation from today have that.
You get this. So the thing that I think I liked about this Xbox Inside Xbox thing the most was that first off, they said everything that was going to be shown in these trailers was that all of it was going to be optimized for the Xbox Series X. So even if it's a game that comes out for the Xbox One, if you get the smart delivery with it, you're going to get an upgraded version. It's not going to be like you're playing an Xbox One game on the Xbox Series X. You'll actually be playing a game that is designed to be on the Xbox Series X, which I think personally is kind of a big jump for how they're designing games compared to when you look at like Xbox One games to Xbox One X games and PlayStation 4 games to PlayStation 4 Pro games. Yep. It seems like there's this disconnect of like, okay, well, we have these two mid-gen consoles, how are these going to be made better? Like, what's the selling point for these systems outside of just having a little bit better of a system, and I think Xbox is dominating this conversation about, look, if you buy a game that has smart delivery, then you just have to buy it that one time, which is such a consumer friendly concept that it baffles me that they're going with it, because it feels so unlike what a company would normally be doing. I
wonder what deals they have in place with these publishers to do that. Are they paying studios to embrace smart delivery, or is that just something that the publishers are seeing as a good thing? And the funny thing is, while I totally agree that this is a great marketing point, Sony does not have to do very much to make this not something that people would jump ship for, right? Like, all they have to do is match this, and maybe it's not smart delivery in PlayStation 5's case. Maybe it's just you get access to, maybe there's cross save, and also like you get the title license you get the entitlement for downloading the new version if you had the previous one. Like I don't know exactly how they would do it, but they can easily match. I think they could match this particular marketing point.
I totally agree. I think the difference is all down to marketing terms. You look at other companies and how they market stuff. It's whatever people are used to saying. Like when they go in to ask for something, like that's the thing that they're going to latch onto. So you walk into a game, or you walk into a store and someone's asking for a game. They say, okay, well, does this have smart delivery? And
no one's going to ask that.
No one? Oh,
for one thing. No one's going to know what that is. No. I don't think so. I think you and I know that because we're paying attention to the presentations, but I don't think anybody else is going to. Like I think people will think of it as like the free upgrade or something like that. No one's going to say smart delivery.
You don't think so? This is why I want you on. This is you're I have this weird dream world where I think people are like, oh, they know the marketing terms. They're using the marketing terms, right?
I mean, I am, but I don't know that PlayStation users coming over are going to refer to it like that. But the other thing is, so let's say The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5 side, let's say those have PS5 upgrades. Those are PS4 games that come out in the summer.
Yeah.
What if they have smart delivery-esque free upgrades for PS5? Like, there you go. That's like a PlayStation gamer. That's really all they're going to care about. They're not. I don't know that they're going to be necessarily like, pining for some of these other. I think for every positive marketing point that I see in these presentations, I think like, oh well, what's Sony's possible answer? Like, could they possibly have an answer to this? And for the most part, I think they do. The thing that they don't have an answer for yet is Game Pass and the first party library being part of that on Microsoft's side. Like Sony does not make their first party titles available on PlayStation Now day and date.
Well, they don't have to at this point, right?
They don't have to.
You put Corey out there from Santa Monica Studios, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna have a new God of War, and everyone's going to buy it. They don't care if they can check it out." You know, the next Horizon Zero Dawn, it doesn't have to be on Game Pass day one kind of thing to sell. Like, people are going to buy it regardless. And I think people...
But for you and I who are in the Xbox ecosystem, that stuff is important. Like, that stuff is like why we're sticking in that ecosystem and excited about the next generation, because I know I'm going to get to play Halo Infinite. I know I'm going to get to play Grounded or... Sea of Thieves or whatever other games from Xbox Game Studios that they announce in July. Like, we're going to get to play those day and date. Like, we don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But for a PlayStation gamer, they're just going to shrug their shoulders at that because the Xbox One library already hasn't won them over. So
that's the crazy thing to me, because I look at like Game Pass and I think, all right, I can buy an Xbox Series 1X on day one. And that's my cost investment for the system, because I'm already paying for the Game Pass. That's already factored into my budget. I don't have to budget for games. I've already got the games on Game Pass, and that's crazy because I've already got the first party content covered there as well. And I don't know how PlayStation people do it. I don't know how. Like, I look at PlayStation, I look at my library, and I'm like, if it's not below $20, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna hold off. Because I don't want to have to spend $60 for multiple consoles for a game, unless it's like one. If I can get $60 or if I can get $15 value out of my Game Pass every month, I'm satisfied, and that's easy. So I really.
But I think for that, there's a person on the other end of the spectrum on the PlayStation side who's like, the only game I want to buy, or the only two games I want to buy this year, are going to be Sony first party story driven narrative games. And then whatever multi-platform game, it's going to be on PlayStation anyway, so I don't need to worry about that. Like, I think there is definitely a divide on people who like and prefer PlayStation's first party to Xbox's first party.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
Fair point. Yeah, I mean, if you're spending, because how much is? I'm not doing the math in my head right now, but how much is Game Pass a year? if you're spending $15 a month. 12, 15.
I think it's $10 a month.
Oh, 10.
If you get it when you're not when they don't have promotions on, but then Game Pass Ultimate is more expensive than that. I think it's $14.99 a month. So
yeah, okay. But
I upgraded for $1, so I don't even know.
All right, so I pulled out the phone. $15 at $12 12 months a year. That's $180. That's $20 more than that's three first party games basically at $60. So if you buy more than 3 games on a Sony PlayStation, then you're already done. But that doesn't even factor in the fact that you still have to pay for the Sony Online if you want to play anything online. And so if you want to say,
you have to do that on Xbox too.
But isn't the
Ultimate includes it?
Yeah,
I think. But
because Ultimate's Game Pass and Gold, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so. This is the problem when you have too many fractions of your program. You have options and you start mixing them up. But I'm pretty sure Ultimate has Game Pass and Gold in it. So
you're correct. Yes, it's $14.99 a month. On PC, Game Pass is $5 a month.
Yeah.
On console, it's $10 a month.
Yeah. So if you go with Ultimate, it's $180 a year at base cost without promotions, and that gives you online, that gives you all the first party games, all the Game Pass stuff and stuff. And honestly, like, you still have to pay Sony Online if you want to play anything online, which if you're banking on the 3 first party games a year, then if you want to substitute that with like online multiplayer games that are free to play, like Fortnite or Apex or Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Warzone, then you still have to shell out the money for that online functionality that Sony charges.
I think on PlayStation you don't have to pay if the game's free to play. So like Fortnite, you don't have to pay.
Oh, really?
On Xbox, you do. Yeah, it's all very confusing.
Yeah, it's almost like they need people outside of the company to help kind of give this information to people in an easy form.
Exactly. It's one of those things though where once you're in the ecosystem, once you're in the door, they've already sold you the thing. Yeah. Like they don't need to explain it any further. Like I am a PlayStation Plus subscriber and I download the free games, but I don't play a whole lot of online games on PlayStation anymore. So I don't even know why I'm.
Don't lie to me with the Predator Hunting Grounds.
That's on PC. That's on PC. I have it on PC.
All right. Well, I thought I had you on that one. Apparently,
you thought you did.
Dang it. Okay, so I feel like we should actually probably talk about what came in the inside.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the presentation.
So, just kind of looking at the first game, Chris, did you ever play Stardew Valley?
Yes.
That was a fun game, right? People liked Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising that it was done by one person.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. I was like, hey, that's a pretty cool game. One guy made it out of his home. That's pretty nice. And then China comes out, and one person from a studio in China is like, hold my beer. And then we got this Bright Memory Infinite.
This was an interesting trailer.
This had me going every single time. It was like every 5 seconds it was a different game, and I didn't know how to read.
Right, exactly. Remember your favorite gameplay mechanics from games such as Call of Duty or Titanfall or Forza Horizon. Yeah. Or let's just mix all of these genres together, or Dark Souls with the sword. Play. So it was like, oh, we're doing that, are we? Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was crazy. It's a futuristic action first person game that looks like it's set in feudal Japan, but
for a little while.
Yeah, for a little
with
for
cars.
Yeah, you get a nice stormy afternoon in feudal Japan as you're shooting guys down, and then as you're like about ready to drop on one of them, you pull out this giant sword and just kamehameha the ground, and I don't know. And then you're fighting these centurion looking dudes, and
Yep.
But you knock one into the air, and then you get your little laser lasso and you pull them back and freeze them in midair, and then slice them up into pieces. And that's even before you get to like the wall running and on the buildings, and then you're in a car and you're getting chased, and this game looks amazing for one.
It does, but I kind of wonder, is it going to be a brilliant game, or is it just going to be a nice facade? Like, we've seen this demo, we really know nothing about how the game plays, and we know one person designed this thing.
Yeah.
What is that? Well, like, what does that mean for the game? Like,
true.
what sort of
we don't really have a game. We have a really cool trailer of a concept of a game.
It looks great. I'll give it that.
Yeah. So this is the thing where I don't know if this is a good talking point to bring up, but I mean, you've been doing game journalism for a long time, and with EGM, like you guys were pretty familiar with the concept of a bull shot, which if anyone's not aware, it's kind of a fabricated image that used to be put into game magazines to kind of showcase gameplay in a way. That's right.
It's like a setup screenshot that may or may not reflect the final product.
And that's kind of the conversation that's been going around, like this video, but in a lot of trailers over the last few years that I've been paying attention to. And it seems like more and more we're getting these videos that it's like, is it a game? Is it actual? It's rendered in engine. What does that actually mean? Like,
right.
It's hard to know what's real and what's not real until you have someone sitting on stage with a controller being like, all right, and we're going to have John here go through the first bits of the first level. And after that, we'll discuss a few features about some of the different professions you can go into. And, until we really get that, it's hard to know, like, all right, well, this looks cool. Is this what it's actually going to be? Or is this just like what you guys are capable of doing with this engine with these graphics?
And I think we'll get those types of videos closer to launch. And we'll get those types of demos closer to launch. Like, I think for now, anyway, these sort of marketing trailers that use in-engine graphics, like it's not gameplay, but it's like the best target they have. And for a lot of these games, they're going to multiple platforms. So they're going to use the same sort of in-engine video to market the title. Like even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they say that it was going to be gameplay in this presentation, but it really didn't look like gameplay so much as in-engine cutscenes, which is okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, I know what I'm getting from an Assassin's Creed game anyway, so there's plenty of time for that left.
Yeah. And I think the thing that was kind of weird is I don't know if I have I don't know how I feel about them, like, because I'm listening to what they're saying in the video, and in the video they're saying, hey, this is all gameplay, right? And they're like, yeah, it's all gameplay. And I'm like, this doesn't look like gameplay. Are you guys, what are you guys like gaslighting me on this inside Xbox here? Like, come on, give me.
Well, the definition of gameplay, I think, in this presentation is more in-engine footage.
Yeah.
So it may be something that you see in the game, but you're not controlling it at that time necessarily. Like, there were a lot of videos here that did have gameplay in there, like the Medium that looked real. Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2 looked real. Yakuza Like a Dragon, we know what that looks like.
Yeah, Ascended, even Dirt 5.
Ascent, yeah. Dirt 5, yeah. I mean, you can say that. So that stuff's gameplay.
Yeah.
But
even Chorus.
Yeah, there were a couple things where it was clearly just cinematics, and that's okay too.
Yeah, it felt like overall, I would say that a lot of the trailers that we got were a blend of gameplay with cinematics that really kind of tried to keep the HUD elements on minimum. And
right.
I'm okay with that because I don't need to see my life bar on a trailer for a game that I want to find out, like get excited about. Like I don't care about that. I don't care how many grenades I have.
No.
Plus,
in another 4 months, people are going to forget about this presentation.
Are you sure? Have you seen some of the criticisms with Anthem? Because I feel like
Right,
people still remember.
Right. Well, it depends if the quality of these games lives up to the footage that we've been shown. So
it's true. They got a lot.
If they do, then no problem. If they don't, then we have a problem. Then it's sort of a Spider-Man puddle issue that you're talking about. Where people compare the puddles from early footage of Spider-Man at E3 to the puddles in the final game. And it's like, what are you even doing? Like
that's not even I still can't believe people did that. I still can't believe people are getting all upset about the puddles when you see other things where people are taking the photo mode out to like the river and they're getting the weird images of the fake people that are out there that are like 2 polygons. Like there's some scary stuff in that game, people. You don't need to be worrying about no puddles. I don't
exactly.
I don't get it. So are you into racing? Because I know Greg is.
I'm into arcade style racing, but the trailer for Dirt 5 definitely had me intrigued because it looked like a more Forza Horizon style thing. And I don't think Horizon is coming out this year, so this might sort of hit those same notes.
Yeah. Is it weird to me? I mean, is it weird to you that like in the trailer for the Xbox Series X, like the first one that they put out, they put out Halo, they put out a Forza game, and they put out FIFA as like the examples. And I assume that those were going to be like the launch titles, because why else would you showcase games on a system that aren't going to be coming out for the console? So it seems kind of weird that they're looking to showcase Dirt 5 in now and no word on the next Forza game.
That's gonna come soon enough, I think.
You think they'll still do one?
Oh yeah, I think that'll be part of their July presentation when they show off Xbox Game Studios stuff. But I think Dirt 5, if they're not doing a Forza Horizon this year, it sort of fills an important slot in the catalog.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I like that, and it felt like that kind of throughout this whole video. It felt like they were trying to grab a little bit of everything for anyone.
Yeah. I think the same trailer of Dirt 5, by the way, went up on PlayStation's YouTube channel about the same time. Oh, so I wonder. I mean, it's obviously a sort of in-engine thing, but it's going to be on both systems, just like most of these games that were shown today will probably be. But will you remember that you saw it first in this presentation on the Xbox side, or will you remember it when Sony shows it off in whatever?
I think that kind of comes down to where your ecosystem lies. Like if you're subscribed with notifications to the Sony channel on YouTube, you'll probably see it pop up there. If likewise for the Xbox channels, if you listen to certain podcasts for one console, they'll probably talk about this. And there's always a little cross-pollination with gaming podcasts in general, especially when it comes to third party, because there's not always enough first party news to fill out that weekly cadence.
Yeah. So what's going to be interesting on the other end of this is what are the timed exclusives on each side? I think the games we saw today are not timed exclusives for Xbox. So where are those games and what do they look like in terms of what the launch lineup's going to be, and how does it compare against what first party is going to offer? That'll be the big question like that for whatever ecosystem you're currently in, because it's a lot harder, I think, to get people to switch to a new ecosystem because you have your friends list on one place. Maybe you don't know as many people on the other platform. Like it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be I don't even think when PS5 gets announced that we'll really know, who's going to come out of this thing in the lead. PlayStation certainly has more eyes on it now than Xbox does. But I think Xbox has a great offer of value for money in terms of Game Pass and everything. And I like the Xbox ecosystem, but I don't think anybody who's into PlayStation really knows much about what Xbox has to offer.
Yeah, and for me, I can definitely attest that that's how my experience is, because I have maybe 3 or 4 friends on Sony for my PlayStation, but that's because I came to the console generation really, really late, and it's all just first party games. I don't play any multiplayer stuff on there. But I mean, most of my friends are on my Switch and on my Xbox ecosystem, and that's just because that's where I like to spend a lot of my time socializing, and not even that much with Nintendo. A lot of the time it's just like Animal Crossing, which I'm sure we'll probably talk about soon enough. So, but kind of with the next game in this trailer, I don't know about you, but I love H.R. Geiger, but this game scared the crap out of me. I thought this was the most like sexually explicit, non-sexual thing I've ever witnessed, like on my phone in public, and I'm like, man, this is freaking weird. I don't know if I want to be watching this right now. Like, I got people around me, but I love.
You're talking about Scorn.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah.
Scorn.
So Ebb Software is making Scorn. This looks like just pure nightmare fuel. I don't even know what this game is. I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of adventure horror genre, just based on
That's what
atmosphere.
It sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It's just, it scares the living bejesus out of me, man. There's some really,
it looks crazy,
really crazy stuff. And at first, with the big faces and stuff, when it first opened up, I thought this was going to be like a Chronicles of Riddick game. And I was oh, I'd be down for this. I'd be good for a Riddick game. I love that world. And then it got into Geiger's area, and I was like, well, this could be a new Aliens, but that would be really weird because there haven't been like any rumors about a new Aliens franchise and stuff, which would be kind of cool because we got Predator hunting grounds and stuff. But what did you think about this? Because this just creeping me out, man.
I mean, it's not a game for me. It's what I immediately thought. Like, this looks cool, but I won't be playing this. But the description on the website is pretty interesting. It's sort of a first-person horror adventure game with puzzles and such. And I'm sure it'll be good. Not for me though.
Yeah.
Looks great though.
Looks. I can't even. I don't even know how to describe it. It is nothing but nightmare fuel, especially the freaking plant third eye thing at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. No, I can't. It's just it's too messed up for me. So moving into the next game as quickly as possible. Chorus or Corvus? I have no clue how to pronounce
Chorus.
it. Is it Chorus?
Yeah, it's Chorus. Yeah.
So this game looks really, really crazy. Like, this looks good for a flying simulator in space. Like, I'm down to play this because it looks fast. It looks like it kind of wants to be. I don't even know. It looks like a
Wing Commander.
Yeah,
or like
I wrote down
Colony Wars or some of those.
I put my first impressions of this when I was watching it was Last Starfighter and Not Your Daddy's Star Fox.
There you go.
Like,
there you go. Exactly.
It seems like a cool premise. I love that there's we have another game with another female protagonist, something that's finally starting to get a little more push in the industry. But the atmosphere of the game looks dark. This chick has like ruins, almost kind of like she has like ruins on her forehead, and as like, you know, if her mascara ran and started to write a novel. But it seems like she's kind of like this savior, like this Ender's Game kind of person who has to try and like save the world. And she did it once,
yeah,
and now she might have to do it again. But the thing that I noticed about this was it's a 2021 game. And
oh really? Okay, yeah, 2021.
So the thing that I thought was interesting was they mentioned it at the beginning of the video, and I didn't notice it, but this is definitely one of the few that it looks like this is like we're looking at launch window games and not launch title games. So how do you feel?
I mean, I think until we get about a month out, I think anything could slide off to a launch window. I mean, any presentation you see from any first party, if they don't say a specific date, it's probably likely to slip, especially this year, right? Where so many things are uncertain.
Totally.
And I think that's okay because, you know, you are going to have games that aren't going to hit launch day that you're still going to want to get people excited about. So
yeah,
I've always been fine with people showing off games that are a year or two off, as long as it's clear that this is not a launch day title. I'm fine with that.
Totally. Yeah, I'm a whole 100% with you. Not to just kind of yes man you there, but that's how I felt with Cyberpunk 2077 when they announced that. I was like, okay, I'm glad I know this game exists because I'm going to be looking forward to it a lot.
It's like see you in 3 years time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm totally down for letting CD Projekt Red take as much time as they want. If they want to spend an extra 6 months giving me the ability to customize my genitalia, that's fine.
Well, we already know about Everwild.
True.
You know, talking about Rare and the Xbox, so we don't know when that thing's coming out, but I'm ready for it. I'm down for it whenever they choose to make that available.
I'm really hoping that in July, when we get that first party video, that's one of the big hits. That's like, hey, that'd
be nice.
This is a next gen game. This is what it is. This is what to expect. I'm hoping that you know, let's see, when did that come out? Because that was fall of 2018, I think. Or was it 2000? Oh, when was that? Because it was no, it was XO19, if I recall.
XO19, yeah, was when they showed off Everwild.
So that was like fall winter
November.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, it's been like 6 months since then. We haven't heard anything from it, so a couple more months so we get an actual gameplay kind of trailer, a little story to it. That'd be great.
That would be nice. Yes.
That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I'm skipping right over Madden unless you wanted to jump into it.
No.
Are you sure? Because I mean, I know how big a fan of sports. It's a sport, right? It's a sport. It does have smart delivery.
Yeah,
I did want to point that out.
It doesn't have smart delivery, actually. So they did say in the trailer for it that you can upgrade to the Xbox Series X version, but if you go to EA's website, they explain what that offer is. Basically, it's like they give you, I don't know if it's a code or what, but it's a limited time thing. So you have to purchase the game before December 31st, and then you have to redeem that before like April. So it does not actually sound like it's smart delivery. So it is a free upgrade, but only if you
take partake of it, drinketh the
early.
Cup.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they make that an easy thing for people to do, because it's if they're gonna do it that way. And you know, the more I think about it, now that you bring that up, I wonder if that is how a lot of the other third-party publishers are going to go about offering this to multi-platform consoles, like people. Like if
Right.
you're playing this on PlayStation 5, and you had the PS4 purchase of it, like will they do the same thing for PS5 owners? Is like,
I imagine they will.
so that's got to be.
I have to imagine they will, because why would Sony just let Microsoft have that particular marketing point? I don't think they want to be in that position. So like Madden, if smart delivery is not actually the way they're delivering this, which it seems like it's not, there's no reason for it to only be an Xbox thing.
Yeah, that's got to be how they're doing it. I wonder if other companies will be going that route too. Then I wonder how CD Projekt Red's gonna kind of play with that, because I'm pretty sure they've stated that they are going to be doing smart delivery, or at least they confirmed that they
did.
Yeah. So we know for sure that at least they're going that route.
But CD Projekt Red has some kind of marketing deal with Microsoft, since they're doing the Cyberpunk Xbox One X and they're doing the controller. So
is that why they have the controller and the console?
Yeah, they're not just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. There's money involved. There's money involved, right?
That's so crazy. They seem like the type to really just jump into the whole, like, wanting to make everyone happier. Speaking of CD Projekt Red, we didn't see anything that was in this video to kind of talk more about Cyberpunk 2077, but they are doing an actual, and I should have pulled this up, but they are doing a thing in June. I think it's the 11th or the 12th. That is their Night City Wire announcement, which is going to be another dive into the gameplay for that game. So that if you're wondering how come or Cyberpunk wasn't in this video, it's actually because it's going to be next month as their own kind of thing, which I think that was something that maybe they had planned for E3, like they were planning on doing something like this, and because E3 is not happening, they're just going to do it anyway. But they are I get the impression from them that they're going to be kind of working with Jeff Keighley and IGN to kind of make sure that their videos are showcased on the Game Fest and the Gamers Fest and the Summer of Games and stuff. This I can't.
Cyberpunk's going to be everywhere this summer, right?
It has to be, man. It's the biggest game that I think everyone, like the first, like, whispers of this game, I was sold, and now everyone's sold, and I'm like, cool. And now everyone's getting the marketing ramp for it. Can I ask how you feel about them doing a special Xbox One console edition for Cyberpunk? Like, how do you feel about the special edition Cyberpunk 2077 console?
I think it looks cool. I think it looks awesome. Like, a Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't seem like the type of game that I'm going to get into. So that console is not for me. But if you're into that, I think it looks awesome. And the controller looks great. Like, the hands-on that I've seen from the controller, like, the details on that thing are great.
So
I like that. I like that type of thing, honestly.
I would love to buy one of these. I would love to shell out the cash to pick one of these up. But the fact that, for one, it's before a next gen console launch, and for two, I've already got a PC rig that I'm probably going to upgrade first, really kills my desire to want to drop any money on anything that's current gen. And it kills me because I'm sitting here looking at this system and I'm like, it comes with the game, it comes with the controller. It's a really cool system. I really dig the aesthetics that they decided to go with it, the little glow in the dark bits and the LEDs and whatnot. Like, I'm down for that. But why now? Like, why decide to do this now? Why not release this like back when they were planning on doing the initial launch for the game? Like, why not sell it then?
I think probably that was the plan, right?
Yeah.
But it got delayed and then delayed again.
Man.
So
it makes me wonder, like why didn't, I feel like if they'd pulled the trigger on this back when the original launch date was going to come out, I feel like they would have probably had a better reception. And at this point,
Oh yeah,
them doing pre-orders in June seems like it's going to be a DOA, kind of dead on arrival system, which it's.
I don't think so.
You think it'll still do
I mean, I
fairly well?
think there'll be people that pick it up, and it'll be especially, collectors will get into it. Like I think I think people will
I want to buy
pick it
this.
up. I don't think they'll like overproduce them or anything like that either. So, and who knows? They might have a Series X that's Cyberpunk as well. You never know.
I'm actually kind of excited for this little rectangle to come out with some really cool special editions.
Yeah.
That's something I'm actually kind of looking forward to. I'm surprised they haven't done that more with like the Switch. Like the Switch feels like it's a perfect system, and I think we've only had like 4 or 5 at this point, with the Animal Crossing one being the best one.
Yep.
So, but yeah, oh man, don't buy it if you're out there and you're listening to this. Leave it to sit on the shelves. Don't get this Cyberpunk one. Just make sure that one's close enough that you can send it to me if you need to when it gets cheaper and cheaper. Like
once it's on clearance.
Yeah,
right.
When it's on clearance, you buy it for Logan and you send it to me, and I'll pay for that shipping in the game in the console and stuff, because I want one of these. But dang it, I don't know if I'm going to be spending full price on it.
Yeah.
What did you think of We Happy Few 2? That was pretty cool announcement.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Yeah, that was the first thing that popped to mind was, wow, this looks like We Happy Few.
Yeah.
But I've never played one of these games. There have been multiple Vampire the Masquerade games. I've not played any of them, but I thought the trailer looked interesting.
Now, do you know what the kind of critical reception has been for the past games? Is this a pretty loved series?
No.
Oh, so
I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's a lot coming from you. So
do you know anything about it? Is it good?
I'm only familiar with the tabletop game. That's the crazy thing. I didn't even know that they had games for the 6. I think I saw like the first one once, like in a fever dream, and I was like, oh, that's crazy, and then it never crossed my mind again. But the fact that they're putting this in the Inside Xbox trailer suggests that they think this is going to be a pretty big game for the system. Like, why else would they bring this to the table unless they had some pretty good vibes on it? I don't know, man. I'm looking at the opening scene with the Christmas tree and stuff, and the people hanging by their arms and their face.
Yeah.
And man, that was the whole. I had such a creepy vibe for the first half of this trailer. I don't know how these people are actually being suspended properly, because it doesn't look like they actually have anything holding up their shoulders or waists, because that's but
it's video game logic, Logan.
What?
They don't need anything holding them up.
What? Lies.
I actually got BioShock vibes off of this.
Yeah.
Not only We Happy Few, but BioShock vibes off it, like with
dystopian
corpses.
Yeah, super dystopian kind of feel. Like I was kind of happy because I was like, I love this song. Reminds me of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And
absolutely.
And I was super stoked about that. I was like, all right, cool. I'm jamming. The thing that kind of pulled me away was the character animations. And the thing that stuck out the most for me was like there's a scene where there's a guy in this office building, and he grabs this like bunch of floating blood for some reason. I don't really know what's going on, but he's like tapping his hip, and it's the most awkward animation I think I've ever seen in a game. Like it doesn't look like he knows how to hit your hip or why you would hit your hip. But there's the scene with the chick in the nightclub with the violet eyes, which is like giving me the Witcher feels, and this Sims guy from Sims 4 walking across the hall across the floor, and I'm like, oh man, I hope this game is good because I love vampires, but there's like weird bits that are just not hitting for me on this, but I love the song.
Yeah.
So good job on
it. It was
song.
a good trailer. It was a really good trailer. I thought they did a great job with it. And, it certainly makes me want to watch when this game comes out. So,
Yeah. I like the idea that they're going to be doing kind of a first person vampire game. I think that's kind of a crazy concept because you don't really ever get that feel in games I've ever seen a first person.
Yeah.
So like the idea
I do think there are developers. So the Vampire the Masquerade games have definitely come out on console 4. And I think there's some developers that are basically like not making the same game over and over again, but like revising and iterating on the previous game like over and over and over again. And eventually they're going to get it right and get it in front of the right people. That kind of happened with From Software and Dark Souls, right? Because they were making games back in the PS1 days called Kingsfield that played very similarly, or at least had a similar idea, and it didn't take back then. But it took a couple iterations, and they finally got to Dark Souls, and people loved that. So,
well, hopefully this is hopefully Vampire Masquerade will have that same kind of trajectory. Hopefully this is just the start of us really getting it to the forefront of the gaming industry or the gaming community's eyes and giving us a chance to really check it out.
I think the Medium from Bloober Team is actually in a very similar situation. So Bloober Team did the Layers of Fear series.
Oh man,
Layers of Fear 1 and 2, and the Medium. They did the Blair Witch game that came out last year. Now they're doing the Medium. So they were kind of on a similar trajectory where they've done a lot of like sort of horror games, and the previous games may not have looked all that great. Like weren't next gen looking, like people didn't like turn their head to look at Layers of Fear necessarily, but the Medium trailer I thought looked really interesting.
The characters themselves looked so good. Like they
did.
Whoever modeled the faces and the animation, like they did a really nice job, and the atmosphere is amazing too. The snow looks so good. I hope this is what it looks like in game, because
I hope so too.
I love the whole concept of it too, like the shifting of worlds. It totally made me feel like I was looking at a kind of Cold War era version of Stranger Things with adults.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that looks so cool. I want to see how this plays into the realm of like working out puzzles and stuff, because
absolutely,
if you're living in that dark side of the world, man, like that's hard to be alone in. It's one thing when you're a knight with a bunch of armor and you got a big sword or you got guns and it's like Devil May Cry. But if you're just a woman who just has this ability to sense other people's emotions and feelings and stuff and their worst sides, like that's a scary world to try and live in.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, I'm
very curious on this one.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing like how the Medium turns out, because if the gameplay or if the trailer is anything to go off of, this looks like it's gonna scare the crap out of me, and that's cool.
I'm kind of sensing a theme in some of the games that were shown, like a lot of horror games, a lot of violent stuff. Like, what do you think of that overall? Like in terms of a presentation like this for them to show, and there was that Bandai Namco game, Scarlet Nexus, that was
you mean Astral Chain
more
2?
Anime styled. Yeah, exactly. They're definitely channeling Platinum Games here.
Yeah.
But like when companies have a presentation like this and they show games that are only violent or horror games, like what does that make you feel like as a consumer? Like, do you even notice that, or like what would you prefer?
This it totally still stood out to me. Like this whole presentation, like all the games that were shown, with the exception of the Call of the Sea, just all of it felt like it was like dark and negative and scary. And I was like, man, this is a weird tone for an Inside Xbox. Like I figured they'd be doing more action, more adventure. Like I'm kind of wanting like a Tomb Raider or like a Uncharted at this point. Like I kind of want to see them move, because it felt very mature. It felt like every game in this trailer, with a couple exceptions, was like, all right, everything's gone to pot, and you're going to be playing this game that's in that for the next 20 to 60 hours. So I hope that's what you're down for. Which, I mean, I'm edgelord as it can be for an old goth, but at a certain point, I got to sit here and think like, man, this is dark. This is super dark.
A little bit dark.
What did you think of Astral Chain 2? Because
Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, Scarlet Nexus is the Japan influenced game that's coming in. That it looks like it pulls a lot of the same kind of spiritual kind of tropes that you'd see in a lot of anime, or see in a lot of action RPG games from Japan, Koei Tecmo kind of stuff. How did you feel about this? Because I know you're still I appreciate anime as much as the next anime person, but what did you think of this?
Sure. I thought it looked good. I thought, it's going to appeal to the type of player that likes Bayonetta or likes Astral Chain, that likes the Platinum games. Like, this seems to have a lot of those same gameplay elements to it. It just looks that way, but with a male protagonist. And I thought it looks really interesting.
Yeah. I think it
looks cool. I don't know that it'll be a game that I want to play immediately, but it looks good.
So is this definitely one that you think like Game Pass would be a perfect way to kind of have this exposed to the actual kind of Xbox?
Possible, but I don't think this will. Is it an Xbox game? Is it a Game Pass game?
That's what I'm checking on, actually.
But that's the thing. It's so not clear. I'd really appreciate a chart where they said this is going to be on Game Pass. This is not.
So it is smart delivery. So this is something that's going to be released prior to the actual game console, or prior to Series X launching. It does not say anything about Game Pass, but I feel like this would be a good game for Game Pass. I imagine it probably.
Possible.
If they're already doing deals with Bandai Namco to showcase this game this early on, I would imagine that eventually this has got to be something that will come to Game Pass.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't. It seems like a good choice for them. Yeah, interesting game. It's very much like Astral Chain and Bayonetta to me. I think this will be right up. If you like Devil May Cry, if you like Bayonetta, this looks like the type of game you'll really go for. Or even what was that other one that just recently came out? Code Vein, I think, or was that more of a tactical RPG?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But yeah, there's been a few games like this on Xbox, and I'm glad that they're bringing this to the system, just so that fans of that type of game will have something to play or look forward to.
Totally.
I was trying to think. Oh, we skipped we skipped the what was it? Call of the Sea, which looks like
Call of the Sea.
That am I crazy in thinking that this looks like Capo Santo remade the movie Atlantis? Because that's what I think.
It does. Yeah, it does kind of look like.
It's like,
but apparently it's like a first-person adventure puzzle game. So
I'm down.
Expect something like Myst or The Witness or something like that to be the gameplay in this. But I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I think they did a really good.
Yeah, it was one of the brighter, lighter games in this presentation. So I was down with that.
It's that was an interesting thing that I noticed too, because when I was watching this, I was thinking about Vampire Masquerade and how it had an upbeat, lively song with Dankeschön, but it was showing you really gory, horrific things. And this is a really bright, colorful game that's all about a woman trying to find her husband who's gone missing. And I'm like, well, that's still pretty morbid, but
maybe it's not, though. Maybe it turns out happy. Maybe it's a happy ending.
Yeah, that's one can hope. One can hope that that's how this ends. I don't know. We got a bit of a mermaid hands at the end there, so I'm sure she'll be fine. I'm sure that's a normal thing for a woman in the 1930s to experience.
Sure.
The I'm really interested to see how that turns out, because there's been a few games that have come out that have tried to kind of pull from that Sea of Thieves aesthetic that I think I really enjoy, and I hope that something cool comes out of this. I hope that because I don't know about you, I really loved Firewatch. Like I thought
I did too.
That game was short.
Everything except for the end.
Really?
The ending.
You didn't like the ending?
I didn't think it was as satisfying as I thought it should have been.
That's fair.
But I liked the game a lot.
That's fair. Without spoilers, I'm kind of right there with you. There's a couple things that I would have liked to have had happen at the end that didn't. That I'm the same way. But part of me thinks that was because of the choices that I made in that game, and realizing that I'm really, really not good with women. That made me kind of question if maybe I just didn't play it the right way, because I played it how I would play it. And I
don't think it offered anything else though.
Okay, well,
I think there was no optional ending that explained more or filled in any more details.
That makes me feel better, because at least it wasn't my fault then. It was partially my fault, but at least I know that if I played it again and made different choices. What did you think of The Ascent? Because that was something that I saw the imagery that they were showing, and I was like, okay, here we go. We got some cyberpunk going on. I like this dystopian future.
The Ascent. Cool. Yeah, this is like overhead perspective loot game. Is that the right one?
Yeah. It looks like a twin stick shooter.
It does
to me. And are you a fan of those at all? Like, are those something that you usually dive into?
Occasionally, yeah. It kind of depends on the setting. But this looked interesting. This is one where I would say this looks like a great Game Pass game, because I'd like to try this, but I don't know if I'd spend $20 or more on it. So
I'm right there with you. I would be willing to jump into this to play around, kind of an arcade gauntlet style game, but this probably wouldn't be in my rotation of games that I jump back into on a regular basis.
As I'm looking at this list and as we're talking about these games, though, it's funny that this presentation wasn't just focused on huge third parties. Like, they did have Ubisoft in there, they had Bandai Namco, they had Electronic Arts, they had Sega, but they also had Bloober Team in there, which is sort of an indie team.
Yeah,
they had Neon Giant with The Ascent, that Curve Digital, that's indie stuff. Like, they had games that are indies, like Call of the Sea, Raw Fury, that's an indie publisher. Like, and they didn't separate indies from AAA, which I think is something that I prefer. Like, because everything's just games at this point, right? Like, you look at Call of the Sea, what necessarily separates that from a game that a larger publisher brings out, or something like Scorn or The Ascent? Like, what's different?
It's
nothing.
Really, really good point. Because I'll be honest, when at the end of the day I was thinking about this, and I was like, oh, they're all third-party games. That's the moniker that I put them under. I know that there's bigger and smaller teams, but when you start off the presentation with a game that looks as good as Bright Memory Infinite, and then you tell me that that's done by one person, I'm like, okay, well, you're kind of changing my expectations on what a game from a certain size team should look like. Like, I look at Stardew Valley and you say, hey, that was made by one person. I'm like, I can see that. You show me a game like Bright Memory Infinite and you say, hey, that was made by one person. I'm like, you're full of it. Get out of here. That's one person who had an idea. That's not the team that worked on that trailer. So I kind of went into that thinking that these are all third party, but you totally bring up some really valid points. Like, do we really need to delineate between like indie versus AAA anymore? Like, can we just call them third party and first party and just leave it at that for the most distinction?
I would prefer that, honestly, because I think to some extent over the last couple of years, when people think indie game, they think of like pixel art side scroller that looks like Super Meat Boy, or
Yeah.
You have an image in your head when you think of indie game.
Totally.
And I'd much prefer it if we start to just think of all of this stuff as games first, and then, whether it was done by one person or a team of hundreds, doesn't really matter anymore, as long as the game's good.
What do you think of the comment that was made in this video about how smaller teams are utilizing the power of the Series X as a way to bring better gaming experiences to the industry? Like, do you think that that's kind of like a marketing term that they just wanted to make people feel good about indies being in the showcase, or do you think that this is actually what's going on?
I think that's actually what's going on, and I think in part it is the tools that are available to indies now. You have Unity, you have the Unreal Engine, which is being used by a lot of teams.
Yeah.
They can now make games that look like AAA games, or at least there isn't much of a gap anymore, which is important for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that kind of thing is important. And I think it's totally true that engines specifically, like supporting next gen, is what is going to make it indie teams able to make games for those platforms that actually take advantage of some of this stuff, and to not have the gulf of indie versus AAA be like pixel art versus polygons.
Yeah. It's such an exciting thought to me to think that, anyone that has enough time and a good idea can pull some of this stuff from like Unreal and throw it together and put out a game that really could do a really good job of like kind of showcasing what can be done if you just have the right idea with the tools that we have now. Like, that's such a cool thing.
Totally.
The one of the games, I don't know about you or how you felt about this, but I was a big fan of N64 games, and the fact that they're bringing Turok 3 to Xbox has me really excited. I don't know. I love this. No. I love this trailer for its second extinction.
A second extinction, yeah.
This screams
dinosaurs in space.
Yeah, dinosaurs in space, guns. Just it has me. It screams Turok to me, and I love it because it was one of my favorite game series growing up. And I know Acclaim's it exists anymore, and someone else has got the IP. I feel like they couldn't get the name Turok for this, and they really wanted to, because this game looks like it's just. It reminds me of like Brutal Legend with dinosaurs, where you're just running around shooting everything. Or no, was it Brutal Legend, or was it Brute Squad or something? I can't remember. It was like a
Brute Force.
Brute Force, yeah. It reminds me of a Brute Force.
What you're thinking of?
OG Xbox game.
OG Xbox, yeah, Brute Force. Yeah, exterminating dinosaurs sounds kind of fun. I like the visuals they showed of just like herds of dinosaurs running past and getting shot in the face was kind of fun. I sort of wonder like what that gameplay is like though. So
yeah,
you're wiping out mutated dinosaurs that have taken out over the planet. Okay, like what's the mission structure there? And are these dinosaurs sentient? Like, do they have technology? Like, what is this? What is going on? You're exactly like,
yeah, I
don't know. But
is there a point to this, or is it just like Doom, where all you have to do is just go kill a bunch of dinosaurs?
Yeah, I almost sort of would prefer if they played up the sort of B movie cheese of this idea, totally. But it doesn't seem like they are going to do that, at least from the tone of this trailer. Didn't seem like it, but I would love something that was like that.
I mean, the title is right up there with like a B flick, kind of apocalyptic film, right? Like Second Extinction. Yeah. It's like a blockbuster popcorn eating movie that you'd go see and it's just a squad that got dropped on an island, and they're trying to find a way off the planet, and they're like, oh, okay, well, it can't be that bad until the first day when they realize there's tons of these mutated raptors, and then find out that it's Earth, the Statue of Liberty on the beach. So
yeah,
it's so ridiculous, but I want to play it, and I don't know why. If it's,
I do too.
It just looks like a bunch of fun.
And cooperative shooters, we could play this together.
Yes.
So there you go.
It's I love that aspect. I love getting groups of people together just to kind of to go around and have fun, even if it's mindless fun like this.
Completely.
Are you a Yakuza fan? Did you want to get into Yakuza? I know nothing about it.
We don't have to get into it. I played a few of the previous games, but
Good,
got
bad,
wrapped up in they feel old in that the mechanics are sort of awkward at times compared to like what you think of a modern sort of adventure action game. But from what I know, the Like a Dragon, which is Yakuza 7 in Japan, is very different. It's more of an RPG battle system. So it could be. I'm interested in playing it for sure.
Yeah, I forgot that the news around this had been that it was going to be a completely big twist on the actual genre. So,
yeah, it's like a completely different gameplay style in the same sort of setting as the previous games, but not the same gameplay.
That's so crazy to me. I'm absolutely amazed at just how much this series has, or how well this series has done, and the fact that they're already up to 7, and it just keeps going and keeps going. There's such this big passionate community for it. I love that. I've never.
Well, there have been spin-off games too, so it's not even the 7th game. It's actually probably closer to 10 at this point, because they did a feudal Japan version. I think they did a zombie version that I don't think came out here. Yeah, and they did the remakes. So Yakuza Kiwami, those are remakes of the originals. And this is one of those things, like I said before, like a team that makes a game and just keeps doing the same thing. Obviously, the Yakuza series has been very popular in Japan, but in the West, it was not popular initially at all, and has sort of gained steam over the past 10 plus years, where Yakuza Like a Dragon is one of those games where you sort of sit up and take notice that it's coming to Xbox.
That's so crazy. I keep waiting for a reason to have someone like force me to get into that series, just because there's so many, and
they're on Game Pass.
That's true.
Game Pass,
that's
man.
True.
Game Pass on
Game
PC.
Pass.
I think even even as well.
I don't know. I did a poll on Twitter today, and I was trying to find out, like, between Jedi Fallen Order, what did I have? Hellblade and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I polled to see like what people think I should jump into, and everyone had like nothing but good things to say about all 3 games, but the poll leaned towards going with Fallen Order. So I think I'm going to try and finish that and then go with the next one, which is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because outside of like the few hours of Black Flag, and I know people are going to hate me for not finishing that game. I have to get back to it.
So it's so good. So good.
I plan on it. I want to. I have to not be in front of the computer to do that, since I already own it on my PlayStation. But the TV is usually occupied by the missus. So I usually, like, when I get home, she's on the TV. So I usually don't sit down to play anything until she goes to bed. By then I'm already on the computer and it's too late. I'm lost.
Right.
So I think the next game I'm going to be picking up is Odyssey. And I'm curious to play this because it seems like this is kind of like where Ubisoft have found their niche for the Assassin's Creed series. And it seems like now with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we're getting even more of that. And I wanted to kind of talk with you about this because, again, full circle, Greg and Phil from Player One Podcast hadn't watched the trailer, and it felt like you wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's news. What did you think of the trailer? What did you think of the video that we got from the Inside Xbox?
I thought the trailer was great. I thought the Inside Xbox stuff was great. Like, for me, the Assassin's Creed series is sort of all about the setting and whether the setting sort of is something you're into.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Black Flag, I was way into that
Yeah.
pirate setting.
Totally.
And played all the way through that game. But the games that have come out since Black Flag, I haven't necessarily been like a huge fan of the setting. So a lot of that sort of has influenced whether I play those games or not. And
not a fan of sand? I don't understand. Sand is
no,
so great.
No, not really.
Gets everywhere. It's dry.
But Valhalla, like being the Viking setting, and there being boats and ship combat, that looks super cool to me. I know there's ship combat in the other Assassin's Creeds too, but I don't know. Something about this setting just seems more my speed.
Isn't the director for this game the same one that did Black Flag? I thought I heard that somewhere. That
possible.
I think I no confirmation, could be totally out of my realm here, but I could have swore I heard that the game director for Black Flag was the one that was heading up this game, which got me.
If so, then awesome.
Yeah, because that's cool. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, and nobody was telling it to me. I was just listening to someone say it, and I was like, okay, well, that's a really cool thing. I love this setting though. I loved God of War. I'm ready to jump back into Hellblade. I love Norse mythology. It's one of my favorites out of the different like Greek, Roman, Nordic styles or mythologies. And the things that I think are really going to make or break this game really come down to the combat system and the settlement building. And I wanted to talk to you about the settlement building because that's something that I've heard from the trailers and the director's commentary, that they're talking about how you have to go and make deals and build up the settlement in England to be able to gain allies to be able to lead these raids into different areas to try and kind of amass troops to kind of beat out the Saxons. Was that something that you saw some of when you were kind of building up your pirate fortress?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. In Black Flag.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit similar. Yeah, you took over bases in Black Flag, and I hope it's like that, because I'd be totally down for it. If it's a more complex base building system, then I'm not as interested. As long as it's easy to do and fun to exploit and gain money in the game through, I'm down with that.
So I pulled some stuff from the actual video. They had a pretty in-depth kind of breakdown on the trailer itself. One of the things that it talked about was growing your settlement. You're going to be able to construct and upgrade buildings that allow for deep customizations that include barracks, blacksmiths, tattoo parlors, and more, and that recruiting new members to your clan and personalize your Viking experience. That works for me.
That's too much. That's too much for me.
That's too much for you. See, this
is too much customization.
So I don't know about you, because I'm in the mindset where I'm like, all right, well, if this is going to be my town, I really want to make sure that it's my town. It's the thing that I like about Sea of Thieves so much is, when you hop in, you get all these customizations. I want my pirate to look like my pirate, how I want. I want the ship to have the liveries that I want. And if they built RPG elements around like Gold Hoarders or Order of Souls, things like that, where, you could kind of build traits into those and kind of give yourself a way to kind of differentiate yourself from others. I like that concept. It seems like a cool, fun aspect to kind of play into in a deeper level to the gameplay. So I'm kind of looking forward to this settlement building part. But you say you're not down for that? That's keep it
not
simple.
As much. No, yeah, I'm more of a keep it simple. I mean, a lot of open world games have like pretty complex systems that you can dig into, and as long as it's sort of optional or it has like an easy way to take advantage of it without going deep into, setting up tattoo parlors, then I'm okay with that.
Not a big tattoo guy. That's
no judgments on tattoos, but
no.
I don't want to like go down to each building, and I don't want to SimCity. I don't want to play SimCity within Assassin's Creed.
You. It's funny. I know you're just kidding, but how do you think this plays into the Assassin's Creed world? Like, do you think that because at this point I'm wondering why they even called it Assassin's Creed, because I'm not seeing anything that makes me really link it to what I understand of most other Assassin's Creed games.
I know, right?
Like, it's kind of
like, what was Black Flag? Was like you worked for a game company or something, and they were mining memories. But they're always sort of current day or not too distant future scenes in the previous Assassin's Creed games. But I don't think the more recent ones have had a lot of that, if any at all, really.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they're kind of getting away from the idea of the Assassin's Creed as a group of people who are trying to preserve history.
Yeah.
And trying to be like, all right, these are the foundations of the Assassin's Creed across the world. And just kind of giving you like building out the history instead of visiting the history. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's coming across the way I want it to, but it's so weird. I'm so confused as to like how this game is going to tie into the Assassin's Creed story. But I've never gotten to play many of them. Like I said, I'd only played a little bit of Black Flag, so it's not like it's a big breaker or big deal breaker for me if they don't really tie it in. So I mean,
they've done so many of these games at this point, and I think they've gone away from so much of what the original game was going to be about that it's like James Bond movies at this point. Like, they're all they're all kind of related in a way in characters and some settings, but it's not the same story or same actor in Bond's case.
Do you think that they could get away with? Do you think Ubisoft could get away with just calling this game Valhalla and not putting the Assassin's Creed moniker? Like, how much goodwill are they trying to mine here with just the name Assassin's Creed?
I think it's huge. I think they have to call it Assassin's Creed.
I think they have to.
Like, because I mean, the core gameplay loop of Assassin's Creed has been built over time. I don't know how many. Is this like close to the 10th game or something like that?
Yeah.
At this point, and they have a bunch of spin-offs and such. Like, they've made a lot of Assassin's Creed games over the years. But I mean, I think it makes sense for them to just continue that lineage, even if it's a thread of the story that was in the first game.
See, that kind of worries me, because it makes me feel like Ubisoft isn't brave enough to bring in a new IP and not rely on the past franchises that they've established. And I
don't think that's true at all, though, because let me just bring it up. Skull and Bones.
Really? Where's that at?
is I don't know where it is. I'd like to see it again. But that's a game that sort of evolved out of Assassin's Creed, right? Like, the whole reason that game exists is because people enjoyed the pirate gameplay in Black Flag.
So this is a perfect example, and not to cut you off, but I was talking about if they could just call this game Valhalla, if it would do so well. You said no. Do you think Black Flag is going to set sail soon, and will it do as well as it could if it was just called Black Flag
or Skull
2?
And Bones? Well, I think Skull and Bones is a different game, but they did make Black Flag 2. It's Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Oh, well,
has very similar gameplay and pirate ship combat and stuff.
Well, that just
but
shows I don't know anything.
But I mean, they could call it Valhalla, and I think it would do fine. But I mean, why not call it Assassin's Creed Valhalla too?
Yeah. That's kind of where I was wondering, like how deep does the franchise go to where you're leaning on that and trying to stay away from like actually having it be its own IP.
Yeah.
Like I want
I think that Ubisoft, though, is in an interesting position because they have a lot of IP, but they do pretty often, and especially at a generation transition, bring out something new. I mean, they could have made For Honor an Assassin's Creed spinoff, and they didn't.
that's true. Yeah.
But they've got Gods and Monsters, which is a game they showed off at E3 that has kind of gone silent or quiet. They've got Skull and Bones. They've got some things
Are they
that
doing,
they could
they're
put out.
they're the ones that are doing Beyond Good and Evil too, right?
Well, maybe someday if that game ever comes out. But yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember they were the ones that actually announced that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I'm looking forward to Valhalla just as much as I'm looking forward to Skull and Bones. I love what Ubisoft is known for at this point, which is releasing games that do really, really well by the time it's in like year 2 or 3. And I mean, I'm fine sticking with a game during that time to kind of play around with it. But is Valhalla something you think you'll pick up and stick with?
Maybe. Too early to tell, I think. But one of the things Ubisoft has done in the prior 2 Assassin's Creed games anyway is like, support it with a bunch of extra content as well.
Yeah.
So I imagine they'll do that with this. So I'm excited from that standpoint, just to see what this game evolves into. Obviously, we've seen what the sort of beginning part of it is, but I'm sure they will put a long tail on it, just like they have with Odyssey more recently.
Sounds good. I'm all for that. I hope that they do a good job with it. I am totally fine ending here, but I was wondering if you wanted to dive into Animal Crossing at all, or if you've talked to Death about that.
If you want to, we can do some short Animal Crossing.
Are you pretty happy
Talk.
with the content that came out for May, as far as like the Earth Day and the new changes with shrubs and new flowers?
Yeah. I think that stuff is great, and I hope they keep adding to the game just like they did with the May update.
Yeah,
like give people a reason to come back to it every day and see something new, and have Red with his artwork that you buy. Like having something new to do in Animal Crossing is great. So I've loved that content. What have you thought of it?
I think it's good. I think it really hit well with the timing, because it felt like it was just about the right time for most people to kind of get to the point where they're kind of at done terraforming their towns, and they've kind of got they're working on like paying stuff off and getting the right villagers and just kind of checking in, doing the normal routine. And having Red show up was a nice treat, but I haven't seen him since. I liked the Mayday island adventure, where it was kind of like a little Legend of Zelda puzzle that you had to work out. I had to reset once on that, and I was kind of bummed because I didn't think about how I was protecting my fruit storage. But I love what they're doing with the game. I think that they're coming out with the content, and I think this is why they delayed it. I think they wanted to kind of build some of this stuff out and have a buffer so that they could work on summer and fall and winter content while people were consuming the launch content plus what they had set up for May and June. Now I'm kind of wondering if the pandemic is going to impact their trajectories on when they're going to release more content. But I don't know. I'm okay with there not being as much new stuff to do if they just give us updates that add new cosmetics and quality of life features. Because at this point, like, there's a lot to check in on. Like, I feel like I gotta, okay, is it a clear day? good. I got stars I need to get, wishing for those. Is there any new bugs that came out this month that I need to catch, or fish? Is Sahara in town, or who's in town? Like, I always got to check and see, all right, is there anyone hiding out on my island that I got to check in on to see, like, is this a good day to go? Because and I just haven't had as much time to do that, whilst like checking my mail, checking what's in the shop, buying what I can in the shop, checking into the Nook mileage app thing, talking to Sable in the Able Sisters thing, and it's like that I'm starting to notice, like, my chores list is getting to be higher and higher. Like, I haven't gone and done a Nook Miles Island in probably 3 weeks. I can't.
Same. Yeah, same.
I haven't really had the need since I've been able to get the turnips and turn those around for gold. I haven't really needed the supplies anymore because I'm not really building anything, because I'm just buying the cool stuff. And I kind of wonder, like, I feel like the DIY stuff is falling off for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just not building that much anymore, and I'm kind of wondering, like, why isn't this a bigger part of the game? Why is it just kind of falling back on the standard buying stuff from Nook and trading with other people's stuff? So I don't know.
I think that's sort of the natural cycle of Animal Crossing, though. Is this your first Animal Crossing game, or did you play one of the previous?
The only one that I played was the GCU one. That was the GCN one, the first one. And
GameCube.
Yeah, okay. The GameCube one was so bare bones that, the highlight of my day was taking my Game Boy Advance and loading up to Captain's Island and going out and hanging out on the island and getting a bunch of junk and coming back home. Like, that was the highlight of my day for when I went out to go to class or something. So
yeah, but I feel like future or Animal Crossing games that came out after that point sort of follow a pattern where at the beginning of the game you feel like you're doing a lot, and then it sort of reaches a plateau where you don't have to do everything. You kind of pick and choose what you want to do. Like, maybe you don't want to dig up fossils today, or maybe you don't want to catch fish or bugs today. So you can, like, let some things drop from your routine, and I think that's sort of the genius of the gameplay loop in that game, because suddenly you have all these things that you could do, but you don't have to do any of them, and then you have enough money after you've paid off your house that you can basically buy anything that you want. Or in this game, you're making mostly replacements for your tools as they break. Not really making things for the island, because you probably already have done all that you want to do out of that. And so part of the fun then becomes maintaining the island, or just using it as sort of a place to take a break, rather than a game you're playing to do chores or get to a specific point. I think that's the way I feel about it anyway.
I think that's kind of the question that I have in my mind when you're talking about this, because I'm wondering, like, Nintendo stated that they were going to be supporting this for the next couple of years, which makes sense because they haven't put out the events as something that you can time travel to. It's all locked behind updates. So I can kind of understand, like, why they're gating that content. But at a certain point, I'm sitting here thinking, like, in my head, like, what is the thing that's going to keep me coming back to this game? And because right now, the thing that's keeping me coming back to it is, like, what's in the shop, and the fact that there aren't any new games for this console that are coming out that have me like really, really chomping at the bit to jump into. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what does Nintendo do? Like, they've already pulled out on the idea of having any kind of announcement in June for what was potentially to be E3. Like, does Nintendo have games coming out this year?
I'm sure that they do. Yes, they do.
You say that.
But I mean, just because they're not doing the traditional E3 style direct doesn't mean that they're not going to announce games. We have at least 2 more release dates known.
Yeah.
In Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and then Clubhouse Games.
Yeah.
Well,
we do.
So we have those.
We do have. I know. We've got the BioShock collection. We've got the Borderlands collection. Yep. We've got the. I just blanked on what was that other one that's coming out. Isn't there another collection by
Burnout?
Who's
Burnout?
Yes, Burnout's
Paradise.
Yeah, which I'm not getting into that.
Me neither. No.
And I know we're getting Outer Worlds in June.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that because I want to play through that again. And I think that's it. And granted,
that's all that you know about right now.
Yeah.
Right. But
it's
not going to be.
Outer Worlds is like cresting on the time frame of when I would expect to get new info from Nintendo announcing what's going to be coming. And at this point, they don't have anything to announce. And I think that's, can you imagine if like the Switch was your only console?
No, I don't want to imagine that.
Yeah, it would be it'd be a little painful to think like you have a Nintendo podcast and this is all you talk about. Like, what are you going to talk about? There's nothing.
I think there'll be things to talk about. I'm not as worried about that. I mean, Nintendo is generally, they have software lined up every month or so. Like they have a first party game every month usually.
Yeah.
So this year is a little different, but I'm sure they have something. I'm not worried about it. Clubhouse Games is gonna tide me over until whatever they announce next.
You're in on that, okay?
Oh my God, yes!
Really?
Clubhouse Games is like the secret best DS game. Yeah.
See, it's perfect. Never played that. What is? I don't know much about it other than it's a collection of card games. I don't know.
Card games, board games, and also like Wii Sports. Some old Wii Sports stuff is in there too, like golf and bowling are in there. And it's really well done. Like the game on the DS had a lot of the same games, but some of them you could play online with other people as well. And that's the case with this one as well. You can select like the different game types that you are interested in playing, and it'll try to match you up with people who want to play those too.
Oh, okay.
It's so yeah, you play Mancala without having to set anything up. They have like an Uno variant in there. They have a bunch of solitaire in there. It's great, and it has each of those games has the Nintendo polish on it, so it's not like a cheap version of whatever game. Like it really feels like they put some attention into these games. So I'm excited about that one.
I think that's what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting a bit of jank to come in with this because
no jank. Nope.
See, that kind of changes my opinion on it because I couldn't see where this game was so highly lauded after it. I was just like, it just looks like a bunch of games. Like, why is this such an interesting thing? I guess it's one of those you have to try it to understand like just how much you're getting with it kind of thing.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll have to take a deeper dive into that then, because I do like some of those games. Although I never owned a Wii, so I have no basis for. I kind of understand.
Oh, for Wii Sports.
Yeah, like I like everyone's talked about them, so I have a general understanding of like what to expect, but I've just never actually played those. I think the closest thing is Kinect Sports for the 360. I think that's
right. Yep.
That's probably as close as I think I've ever gotten to. Awesome. Well, that's pretty much everything. I mean, there's a ton that I could talk to you about, but I know I'm already way later than what you were expecting to be up at. So unless there's something that you wanted to shout out that I completely missed, I think that's
no, I don't think so.
Probably good. Awesome.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, CJ, thank you so much.
This has been fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I want. I want more of these kind of conversations because there's tons going on in the industry that doesn't necessarily pertain to Sea of Thieves. As much as I love Sea of Thieves, that I still think that there's worth having a conversation about. And I'm sure anyone listening to this can appreciate there being more games than Sea of Thieves to play. So hopefully, everyone else is excited for these games as we are, and hopefully they turn out as well as they do. And I think I might try to do something like this every month to kind of fall in line with the 2020 vision that Inside Xbox is kind of banking on, because that sounds exciting to me. Like, I would much rather have E3 spread out over the course of 3 or 4 months than like all in 1 week. I have to take the time off and I have to rewatch these videos over and over and over again to digest all the stuff that happened. Otherwise I'll forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but CJ, thank you so much for joining me on this. If anyone doesn't know who you are the host of the Player One podcast, one of the longest standing and probably best podcasts for general gaming news. You have Phil and Greg as your co-hosts, who I love the symbiotic relationship as I hit my microphone that you guys have, because it cracks me up just how much you guys love and tolerate each other on your podcast. It's great.
That's true.
It's great. And you guys, the three of you combined, have more gaming knowledge than I could ever hope to have. And that's the one of the main reasons why I value your friendship, is because you're a good person, but you got some brains on you, dude. You got some level 400 IQ knowledge about games that I'm just like, I don't even know how you keep it all straight, man. That's so much.
I don't know sometimes either. I really don't know. But thank you for having me on. This was great fun.
Yeah.
And always fun to talk about video games with you.
I appreciate it.
And we should do this again sometime, whether it's recorded or just on the seas.
Yeah, I can't wait to I got to get back on the seas, man. I've been loving them leaderboards. I've been checking them every day to see like if I've fallen in some areas, and I'm like, it's so much fun. God, this is such a good update. I can't wait. And I can't wait to find out like what the quality of life fixes are going to be for the next update. I got to go jump into
Same.
I think Insider got updated, so I might have to jump in there soon, see what's going on. But regardless, thank you again. I will let you get going. I'm going to piece this all together and get it out for people to listen to. So hopefully they'll have something to keep them company on Friday after all this awesome Xbox news. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks, Logan.
Thank you.
Those aren't pieces of 8. They're just pieces of junk.
Aye, the original plan was to use 9 pieces of 8 to bind Calypso, but when the first court met, the brethren were to a 1. Skint broke.
All right, pirates, that's going to do it for this episode of Shoreleave. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you didn't, it was free and you didn't have to listen to it, but you did anyway, and I can't give you that time back, but I still love you for that. If you want to get a hold of me, feel free to do so at captlogun@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter, you can always do so by @CAPT_LOGUN. You can always reach me in the Discord. I am always hanging around there, keeping an eye on things. If not, my mods are for me. Just be sensible. I want to make sure it's a good place for kids to hang out, you know? I just want to have a place where you can not have to worry about who's looking at what without anyone getting offended. And if that offends you, don't worry about it, because you don't have to join. But I still want people to join because it's a great place and there's some awesome people out there. And pirates, with that, that's going to do it for this episode of Shoreleave. I will have another one of these in the future as more information comes through Xbox and throughout the industry as we kind of move forward into the summer to see how things go. I will be back with another episode of Keelhauled this weekend. Expect that on Monday. And my guest, with everything working out, should be Sightless Combat. I hope you enjoyed this. Pirates, thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves. Could be Let It Go on repeat for 10 hours on YouTube. I don't know.